Shortly after World War II, Percy Spencer developed an electronic oven from radar technology produced during the war. This device cooks food by exposing its electromagnetic radiation in the microwave frequency range. This induces polar molecules in the food to rotate and produce thermal energy in the process known as dielectric heating. While it was originally called the Radarange, it would quickly be renamed to the microwave oven and would further be commonly referred to as just simply microwave. Flash forward nearly half a decade in the mythic time of 2009, a 12-year-old boy is lurking in his mother's basement playing Modern Warfare 2 on Xbox Live, screaming out every racial slur underneath the sun when suddenly he hears a familiar ding. Without hesitation, he makes his way over to the microwave, which is now commonplace in most households. He retrieves his Hot Pocket and goes right back to gaming, as the Hot Pocket itself was designed with maximum mobility in mind. And so now at the end of every match and every break between sexually charged comments about the other player's mothers, the 12-year-old boy can now relinquish himself with the ever so savory combination of cheese sauce and pepperoni. Now I highly doubt Percy Spencer envisioned this scenario playing out when he first made the microwave. Or maybe he did. I don't know. Microwavable food is what I'm going to be talking about today, if it wasn't already obvious by the intro or the title of this video. Now, when I say microwavable food, the first words to pop into your mind are probably cheap or frozen, or more likely it's just trash. But you want to know what word first pops into my mind? It's love. I truly and honestly have a deep admiration for microwavable food, borderline unhealthy admiration. Because you see, the thing is, I got what I call raccoon stomach, because your initial assessment of microwavable foods being cheap, frozen, and trash is all 100% correct. And then some, to be honest. But while other people's taste in food has matured after middle school, and so did the overall health consciousness of what they put into their bodies, mine stayed put in middle school, and it's still there to this day. Like, my freezer right now is indistinguishable from a middle schooler's. It's at the point where an FBI agent ever comes around and peeks into the freezer, they'll arrest me on the spot under suspicions of kidnapping some preteen boys. And I have one of the best excuses right now. I'm a 20-year-old broke college student. I can blame my copious amounts of microwavable food on that reason alone, and it's definitely a factor. But if I look deep down inside and be brutally honest with myself, even if I wasn't broke, that freezer would still be fully stocked. And I hate keeping a secret and being judged, because I love microwavable food and I'm tired of living a lie and pretending to be someone I'm not, and I just can't do it anymore. So let's talk about some classic microwavable foods. Let's start with the aforementioned Hot Pocket. Truly the best grub for any greasy gamer on the go. It's an entire pizza reduced down to a compact portable pouch. But it doesn't just end at pizza. You got Hot Pockets like Philly cheesesteak, meatball mozzarella, chicken, broccoli, and cheddar, barbecue recipe beef, and even chicken pot pie. And there's just so many more. Basically, anything Guy Fieri has eaten on dine-in, drive-ins, and dives, it's more than likely a Hot Pocket flavor. Plus, there's some redundant ones like ham and cheddar with a croissant crust and ham and cheddar with a crispy buttery crust. Ooh. Listen, you're not going to taste the difference, because when you nuke the Hot Pocket in the microwave, and trust me, 9 out of 10 times, you will nuke it, the outside of the Hot Pocket loses its flavor or is overpowered by the goop inside. Then you got the 4 cheese ones and the 5 cheese ones. Listen, if you blindfolded a random person and made them taste test the two, they'd contemplate their life and wonder how they ended up in this situation. But also, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Not only that, but Hot Pocket also has these healthier alternatives called Lean Pockets, which is just like a normal Hot Pocket, but with reduced sodium and fat. Now, I don't have a problem with healthier alternatives. I think it's actually great, but just why? Like, do they not know who their demographic is? Clearly, they're trying to cater to a more health-conscious crowd, but most health nuts are 10 hours over buying quinoa and kale and have never even stepped foot in a frozen food section. Like, nobody walks into a frozen food section and goes, okay, let's get something healthy. And finally, above all else, you got breakfast Hot Pockets, which are just sad. Which is hard for me to say as a sommelier of microwavable food, but this shit is just sad. It's like going to a Subway as soon as they open type sad. And you know exactly what I mean by that. I think it's just the connotation of Hot Pockets I have in my head. Because when I think of Hot Pockets, I think of late nights and gaming. And just the thought of someone waking up and making a Hot Pocket for breakfast is so striking to me. But Hot Pockets aren't the only Italian representation in the microwave game, as you got other classics such as pizza bagels and pizza rolls, both legends in their own rights and work much better for serving groups of guests that are kids. Because apparently when I go to formal dinner parties with a tray full of Totino's pizza rolls, I just get scoffed at. I don't know how to segue into this next point, so
let's go.
Taquitos, mini tacos, enchiladas, all fantastic and please my little raccoon stomach. Except the batting average for microwavable enchiladas is admittedly on the low side, to be honest. But the main thing I want to talk about It's the microwave burrito. Truly, God sent these down from heaven himself. Now, microwave burritos are probably the loosest definition of a burrito. Oftentimes, they only consist of 2 ingredients, whether it's beef and bean or bean and cheese. You ain't gonna get much more than that, which is fine. But what makes them special is the price. Not $1, not even half a dollar, but 40 cents. 40 fucking cents. To put that in perspective, you can either get 3 burritos or a bag of chips from most vending machines. You do the math on what sounds like a better deal. To be fair, these burritos are on the rather small side, but for a whole $1, you can get the big ones. The ones you wouldn't want to take home to your mom, if you catch my drift. Oh, that's not going in. Oh. That's not going in.
Let's go.
Now, if you want to get ripped off, look no further. See, most microwavable food is hella cheap, and of course, that's reflective in the quality. But most Asian food, whether it's orange chicken or beef and broccoli or the old reliable fried rice, it'll cost you a pretty penny. As a matter of fact, it'll cost you about the same amount of money as takeout would at most Asian restaurants, and in some cases even more. Now, the quantity you get from the frozen option is more than a normal takeout's amount, but ever so slightly more. And even then, it all depends, because I've gotten takeout from some places before that hooked me up with like 3 pounds of food before. But for the sake of this scenario, let's just say you get slightly more food in the frozen option. Only slightly though. But even then, it's not worth it because the frozen option is significantly worse than the takeout option. Like, when I buy a microwavable burrito for 40 cents, I'm not expecting the same level of quality from an authentic Mexican restaurant or even Chipotle or even Taco Bell. But you wanna know why? Because I'm paying 40 cents for it. When I'm paying 10 bucks for some orange chicken, when the usual cost of orange chicken from most Chinese joints are usually 7 to 8 bucks, yeah, I'm gonna expect it to bang a bit. I'm still looking for taste in the end of the day. Speaking of the end of days, old people, their days are numbered, right?
Let's go.
I'm calling this category boomer food because it's mainly TV dinners, stuff that's been around since the 50s that nobody really eats outside of old people. Now, I had my fair share of TV dinners, and I did enjoy myself. Once again, I got a raccoon stomach. But I never felt like going back to them. Because let's face it, this shit doesn't appeal to younger crowds such as myself. I mean, look, they try to sell these as proper meals when they're just not. We can all see through the facade and realize these are not good, and they're certainly not healthy for us. And I think if you're already gonna pull the trigger on buying food to just pop in the microwave, you'd rather be honest with yourself and go the extreme and buy something that's clearly not healthy, but at least you know it's gonna taste pretty good in the trashy kind of way. Now we're nearing the end of the video, and you're probably asking yourself what the whole point of the video is, and I certainly am too, to be honest. You know, I genuinely love microwaved food. That's not a lie. But what I think it really comes down to is the fact that it's affordable. To be honest, money's tight right now, and I know this isn't the healthiest option out there, but it's one of the safest options for me. And I know I'm not alone in this situation. The world is cold and dark, and for some, it's a constant struggle just to get by with what little money they have. At times, it's hard to not feel lonely when there's just so many other things to worry about. So if you're broke and you feel alone, this is what you want to do. Go to 7-Eleven and you're going to want to grab yourself a Tony's pizza. It can be cheese, it can be pepperoni, it can even be supreme. It doesn't matter. Personally, I'd opt for the pepperoni. Next, you want to get a microwave burrito, one of the small ones. Once again, a new one you want. Next, grab a can of SpaghettiOs and get 2 40s. Yes, you heard me right, 2 40s. If you're under the age of 21, get some other drinks that are the equivalent in price, like 4 Monsters or whatever. It's your call. Now the total should be about 10 bucks or just under 10 bucks. That's a steal. Next, you want to go home and take the burrito and wrap it in the Tony's pizza. You're gonna want to take that concoction and put it in a bread baking tin or anything else that will fit. Crack open your spaghetti and pour it on top. Chuck that bitch in the oven at 350 for around about an hour or so. Once it's done, crack open your 40s and go to town. You're gonna get drunk as fuck, you're gonna get full as fuck, and your worries are gonna melt away. Now you may be asking yourself, Colin, this whole video is about microwavable foods. Why are you now just instructing us to use an oven? And to that I say, fuck.